appreciate you being here early in the morning. Again, I'll repeat what I said yesterday. The idea is to make this as interactive as we can. So Coach McCreary is going to be up here talking. He's got an agenda, but don't be afraid to throw your hand up. He's willing to take questions. Coach McCreary won the state championship in Pennsylvania, high school state championship, so he knows how to put a team on the field and help make them win. So we'll let you take over, Bob.
Okay. Am I on? Can you hear me? Okay. All right.
This one's off.
All righty. All right, guys. Well, good morning. Steve, thank you very much for having me here again this year. Last year I did more philosophical things in my talk, if you were here last year, but today's going to be more nuts and bolts for coaches, specifically dealing with some outfield work, which is a challenge. Now, first off, Baseball by the Yard is a website that I run, which focuses on the little things, the finer points of the game, and I have a detailed explanation out on one of the tables there of why I call it Baseball by the Yard. Basically, a scout once told me when he was asked, what's the difference between a major leaguer and a really good high school player? And the scout put his arms out and said, 3 feet. That's the difference. Everything a major leaguer does, he does it 3 feet faster than a high school kid. And that answer stuck with me. And so when I played in the minor leagues and when I coached in high school and I coached at college and I coached at the professional level, that became more apparent the more I watched the game. And so my website is an attempt to show coaches and show kids how to whittle down that 3 feet. 3 feet being 1 yard. So that's where the term Baseball by the Yard came from. So today I'm going to show you some things involving outfielders, and a lot of it is going to touch on those little things that make an outfielder go from good to great. And a lot of it has to do with knowing those little things and doing them quite often. But before we start here, here's a question. You guys probably have a date in your mind when your season starts, okay? Either your practice starts, game starts. So what's going to happen the day your season starts? I'll give you a hint. That's what's going to happen, okay? In this part of the country, that's our reality, okay? And the Division I colleges started up last Friday, January 25th. And of course, what happened last Friday, January 25th? We got 2 or 3 inches of snow. So it's a constant challenge, constant battle with the weather. And so, you know, if we have a bunch of options once that happens. This is one option, which is not one that I would want to take. Okay, I'm not a cold weather guy. So going out in the snow is not going to be all that fun for me. So that's not an option. If we happen to have a kid on our team whose last name is maybe Zuckerberg or Gates or Rockefeller, we might be able to build one of these, okay? But that's not going to be too practical. I could dip into my own fortune, but I would come up with something more like this as my indoor facility. So basically, if we're a high school coach, if we're a Little League coach in Pennsylvania, we're going to get up close and personal with that space right there. That's a gym. Now, I know some things can be done very easily in a gym. If I'm working with pitchers, I can march off 60 feet, 6 inches. I can get a mound like this or flat work like Coach Hamburg talked about last night, and all my pitchers get in all their work. I can have hitters hitting the cage, station work. All the hitters are doing fine. I can have the infielders getting full ground balls, the length of the gym. Their throws are going to be similar. So they're all taken care of. But what do you do with the outfielders? Because you can't hit fly balls in the gym. An outfielder is going to have to throw 150, 200 feet in the game. Can't do that in the gym. So most of the time, coaches will basically just say to outfielders, all right, guys, listen, just go in the cage, take a few swings, maybe go out in the hallway and run a little bit. And if you want to, jump in, take some ground balls with the infielders, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so basically, when the weather turns bad and a gym is involved, the outfielders get screwed. It's just the way it goes in this part of the country. It's not fun being an outfielder when you're stuck indoors. So the purpose of my talk today is to show you how you can in many ways, teach outfielders how to become better outfielders indoors, and you don't need a lot of space. Now, I was talking to a gentleman this morning how I used to come out here in the mid-90s and give private lessons, group and private lessons right here at Grand Slam. I was here 6 days a week in many cases, and this is the area that we had to work with right here, from that wall to that wall. And every drill that you're going to see here today, I used to do in this space. Okay, so it doesn't take a lot of space to do these drills, and you're working on a lot of the basic things outfielders need to do. But before we do any drill, we have to ask this question: what do we want from our outfielders? Because before we design a drill, we have to figure out, all right, what is the core movements, the core fundamentals we need from our outfielders? Once we figure that out, we can then design drills in any space to focus on those core things. And so these 4 things are in your packet there. I have a chart there. And so these are the 4 things. First off, we want our outfielders to get very good jumps. Okay, so the first couple steps are really important when you're teaching outfielders. And the first couple steps don't take a lot of space. Okay? We need to have them take very good lines, good angles to the ball. Okay? We want them to take lines and angles like a Shane Victorino. Very good job of making direct routes to the ball, not a Bobby Abreu path to a fly ball. Okay? We want direct angles and lines. We want them to have very good footwork. As many of the coaches talked about last night at the college level, most mistakes are made by bad footwork. And so if we can get them to learn the proper footwork, we can be helping them there. Not only the footwork, but the timing of that footwork. And you'll see that in some of the drills I show you here in a second. We want them to catch the ball on the move, and that's obvious. Just about every ball hit to an outfielder is not going to be hit right at him. In fact, in my career, I think that I can only remember one time as an infielder where a ball was hit straight up right at me. I was playing in the Cape Cod League, and they bring in players from all over the country. My very first game, I'm at shortstop, and this kid from Malvern comes up to the plate. And he's a very small individual. His name was Frank Thomas, okay? And if you know who Frank Thomas is, you know I'm being sarcastic. He hits the first ball, and it's a skyrocket. And my first reaction is, oh my God, I have never seen a ball hit that high in my life. And it's straight up in an elevator shaft. And it is right above me. Now, in most cases, when there's an infield pop-up, you're moving. Okay, so it's like the third baseman and I are moving together, and I'm like, I got it, mine. You know, we're calling each other off. He's there to help me. This one's right above me, and it is a mile high. And I do one of these, and I take a glance at the third baseman to see where he is, and this is his reaction, as if to say, "That's yours, brother. I ain't going near that ball." Okay. And so, but that's rare. Most of the time, you're going to have to move for the ball. And so, at any age, whether it's t-ball or professional level, kids have to learn better ways of catching the ball while they're moving. And that's not an easy skill if the kid is just starting out in the game. And of course, number 4, they need to be able to have quick and accurate throws. Now, notice how I don't have strong. Quick and accurate. I don't need outfielders with great arms. But I need them to get to the ball fast and get rid of the ball fast and be accurate. See, at the high school level, I'm at the mercy of who shows up for tryouts. I can't trade for players. I can't recruit players. So I may have an outfield filled with guys with average arms, which is fine. Average arm is fine in the outfield as long as you teach them to get to the ball in a hurry and get rid of it fast. And so that was my goal with all these drills. Arm strength occurs before they even get to me, but I can teach them how to be quick. I can teach them how to be accurate. So I'm going to show you 10 drills here which can help us do that. And I have some video clips to show you what each drill is going to look like. And it's early on your chart there. If you want to take some notes, you certainly could. Now this one here, you're going to see a real sexy drill. Okay? A lot going on here, so don't miss it, all right? There you go. See that? Isn't that awesome? You're yawning. Okay, I understand. Okay. First of all, I'm a high school teacher. Okay, and this is about second period for me. So if the young kids in the back, if you could like make me feel at home and put your head down and go to sleep, that's what I'm used to, okay, teaching seniors. But anyway, that doesn't look like a very sexy drill, okay? Let me show you again. I'm going to stop it. Okay. Now, to most people who see that drill, that's a drill of someone just catching a ball. But for little kids, if you look closely, there's a heck of a lot going on here that most people aren't going to see. And that's where the little things comes in. That's my whole purpose of my website, is to teach these little things. First off, he's teaching the ball, or he's catching the ball, high five. Anytime you're catching the ball above your waist, you high five the ball. Anytime it's below your waist, you low five the ball. That's an easy skill for a high school kid. Little kids don't know that. We've all seen a kid raise the glove up like this, the ball hits the glove and hits the kid in the face. That's because he didn't turn the glove this way. So real basic skill, teaching at any age, high five, low five. He's also catching the ball a little bit off to the side, okay? So he has good vision when the ball's coming down. But more importantly is his footwork. If you noticed, he timed it so that his glove side foot is landing on the ground at the exact same time he is catching the ball. That's the most important part of this drill, and you will be amazed at how many kids do not get that timing down correctly. It takes them a few reps to get the timing down, and it needs to be perfect. Now here's why, because the next drill is going to expand upon this. If I'm an outfielder and I step whenever possible with my glove side foot and the timing is perfect, the ball hits my glove and my foot lands, I then only have to take 2 steps to throw. So I catch, 1, 2. I made 2 steps to throw. If I am standing still, my feet are squared, and I catch the ball, it's 1, 2, 3. I've just added another step. Same thing if I had my right foot forward when I caught. Now it's 1, 2, 3. Okay? So 1 step is about 3 feet, right? That's the baseball by the yard thing. Teaching kids the proper foot forward and the exact timing of the footwork. So to the naked eye, this drill doesn't look too extensive, but there's a lot going on in this basic drill. Now, another disclaimer here. The kid who's in this video, he's a catcher. And I'm glad Fritz Hamburg from last night's not here, because he might get upset at me, but this kid plays the outfield like a catcher, and I'll just leave it at that, okay? Now, he's a great athlete. He's going to a Division I school. He's getting a little bit of money. He's a catcher, but he's not used to doing these drills. So if I were to work with him a lot, there's a lot of things I would clean up. But obviously, a very basic drill. You don't need a lot of space, throwing the ball up, and the kid's just working on the proper catching, and most importantly, the proper timing of the footwork there. Now, the next drill here is taking that same concept, but instead of throwing a ball in the air, the ball's being rolled as if it's a base hit, okay? Either ground ball or chopping ball. So you'll see this one here. Okay, so same type of deal. Instead of catching the ball up here, he's now catching the ball low five because it's a ground ball. But the timing is exactly the same. His left foot is forward because he's right-handed, so it's the same foot here. He's timing it so his foot hits the ground and the glove catches the ball at the same time. And then from there, again, 2 steps. Cross over and throw. Okay, now this is a great drill that I wouldn't just do with one kid. I'd have all my outfielders lined up behind him. And this drill cycles through itself. That's why I call it a relay drill. This kid picks up the ball with the proper timing and footwork, throws it to a mark on the wall. So an outfielder, yeah, you're not going to be able to throw 200 feet in the gym, but if you put an X piece of tape about 10 or 15 feet up on the wall, they're doing the same trajectory as a 150 or 200 foot throw. The ball hits the wall, comes back, and now it's the next kid's turn. And he does it. And I just sit there and watch. And the drill cycles through itself. And the outfielders are working on coming up throwing, charging the ball, not stopping the field. They are just moving through the ball just like they would have to do in a game. Another great thing about this drill, it only takes up about a 10-foot lane of the gym. So that the whole rest of the gym, I could have pitchers throwing, I could have hitting stations, base running, fielding, whatever I need. It's a very narrow space, and it can be done by all the outfielders by themselves. It just cycles through. The next one is dive bombers, okay? Basically, what this young man's going to do, he's got a ball in his hand, and I would have a whole line of outfielders behind him. One at a time, the kid, as you'll see, is going to run to me. He's going to flip me the ball, run around me, and go out for a pass, like a football pass, okay? Okay, after he does that a couple times, then he goes to the other side and works the other angle. And again, I'd be cycling through all the kids. I'm just standing still and they're bringing me the ball. And there's some close-up versions there. And here's some specific things these kids are working on. Catching the ball on the move, okay? They're running the proper running technique. Now, one of the mistakes some kids make, particularly little kids, is they are taught to square up to the ball. And so they will run after the ball with their shoulders squared to the ball. And they run like this. We've all seen that with little kids. One habit the kids have to get into is you square your body to where the ball is going. You don't square your body to where the ball is. So you're running like a sprinter. So if the ball's going to land over by that wall, I face my body to the wall, and the only thing that looks to the ball is my head. That's going to keep me running full speed because I'm squared to the location of the ball, not the ball itself in the air. Okay? Yes, sir?
What are the numbers at the top?
I'm sorry. Those numbers represent which of those 4 core fundamentals are being addressed in this video. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that before there. He's working on running, pumping his arms in a sprinter's mode, and in the last minute, putting his glove up, either this way or this way, depending on where the ball's coming from. So they're learning to take good lines to the ball. They're working on tracking the ball. The good thing about doing this drill in the gym is the floor is hard. Every time he hits the floor with his foot, you can hear it. If a kid is landing flat-footed, you're going to hear very loud footsteps. That's an indication the kid needs to run on the balls with his feet more. Whenever I land flat-footed, my eyes shake. So we've seen kids, I've heard kids say, Coach, the ball was moving. No, the ball was not moving, son. It was your eyes, okay? Because you need to run on the balls of your feet. So again, one of those drills where a lot is going on and you're working on the core fundamentals and you don't need a lot of space. Here's another version of that where it's like a receiver and a quarterback. Kid is setting up next to me on the baseline of this gym here. He's going to go out maybe 15 yards and make a sharp right, come across the middle, and I'm going to lead him with a line drive throw. Okay, and then cycle through the other side. Okay, so same principle there. All right, so instead of fly balls, he's getting line drives across the middle, working this hand, back hands from the other side. I'm cycling through all my outfielders, and again, doesn't need a lot of space, and as a coach, I don't need to hit him, because fungo work's tough. I can just throw. Nice little throw there, nice and simple. This next one is a drop step, okay? Same type of pass, however the guy is setting up like an outfielder and he's going back on the ball, okay? Now the first thing is, what does an outfielder do to set up? An infielder at every level, even the Little League knows, you set up, you step in on the pitch, and your hands go out front, okay? Most Little Leaguers know that. What does an outfielder do? Because an outfielder is not going to get ground balls, but you don't want an outfielder standing up straight either. And you also don't want an outfielder being lazy on his knees. So a question I get is, well, what the hell do you do with your hands? Okay? Well, an outfielder, I tell them, you step forward and your hands go on the front of your hips. Right here. It's a place to put your hands without being lazy. And I can go in any direction. So if I'm hanging out, waving to my girlfriend, my mom and dad, here's the pitch, step forward, right here. Foul ball, all right, step back. And if it's a hit, I can go in any direction, okay? So I'm working on a proper setup, and then if the ball is hit over my left shoulder, the drop step is one of the 2 options that I teach my kids. If it's over my left shoulder, the first step back is my left foot. If it's over my right shoulder, first step back is my right foot, and I'm trying to set up that angle to go directly to the ball. So he's just working on that first step quickness over his head, and I go both angles in that regard. Okay? So that's a drop step pass. Next one is a zigzag. Okay? A zigzag is one of those cases where the kid makes a mistake and goes the wrong way. You often see this in center field. When the ball's hit right at the center fielder, you think, okay, well, if it's hit over this shoulder, I know to go back this way. If it's hit over this shoulder, I know to go back this way. But what happens if the ball's like right over my head? What do I do? And so, oftentimes an outfielder will choose one, because he has to. He'll go back with this foot and then very quickly realizes the ball's curving over here, or the wind is blowing the ball over here. And then it's, oh my God, what do I do? Most little kids, because they're taught never take your eye off the ball, will turn this way and go after the ball. But of course, that drastically slows them down. If they're running this way and then have to turn, not only does it slow them down, but you'll see kids trip and fall. Okay? So the correct way to do it is you're temporarily going to leave your sight of the ball and very quickly whip your chin around so that your body can keep squared up to where the ball is going. So if I go back, I have my body squared, I realize the ball's over here, I very quickly whip my head around, and I can keep running forward without tripping. So you'll see this young man do it here a couple times. So right when I throw it, he whips his head around and goes in the other direction. Again, not a lot of space, but it's a skill that all outfielders need to perfect. Does need a lot of space, but he's working on the proper footwork of going back and turning his head if needed. Now, another option that kids have, besides the drop step, is called a hop step. And this is something that some outfielders will gravitate to. I don't care which one they try, which one they do, pretty much the same. They pick. I teach them both, and they pick one which is best for them. We mentioned that the drop step is just going back with that one foot. Some outfielders will hop and go and line their feet up and then go. Okay, so either one is fine with me. Both work, and usually an outfielder will gravitate towards one or the other. Next one is a 4 cones drill. If you're not good at throwing a baseball and leading the guy for these drills, then you stay still and all you do is lob the ball straight up in the air. The player moves to the ball. So in this case, if I had cones up, I could put a cone in front of me, a cone behind me, and a cone to each side, and I'm in the middle of the square. And all I do is the kid starts at one of the cones, I lob the ball up, and he breaks towards the center from whichever cone he's at, and he's working at different angles. So you don't see him setting up, but he would set up like normal and explode on his first step from each angle. And he's working on basic skills, basic breaks, first step, quickness, angles, the whole bit. Now, of course, in this case, the young man was in front of me, and on my 2 sides, I could put 2 angles this way, cones this way, so that each one he's on an angle instead of straight ahead. So you change the cones, and you change the angle of the player. Yes, sir?
It looked like he was facing away from you.
Yeah.
Is that where they start, facing away?
Yeah. Well, basically, you guys would be the home plate area. So he's always facing this direction, and then he either breaks left, right, back, or forward on the ball. Okay? Now, another variation of this is you can do diving drills in a gym. Kids love it. Okay? Of course, we need to create a safe situation. I take an old blanket or an old sleeping bag, and I will put it right in the center of the gym. And I will stand above the bag or the blanket, lob the ball up, and I'll have kids run and dive for the ball. Okay? Because they're landing on a blanket or a sleeping bag, they have a little bit of padding, but more importantly, they're going to slide. Once they hit the gym floor, they're not going to stop and make that horrible squeaking noise that we all know. Okay? Now, you could also work on sliding. Feet first, sliding and catching as an outfielder, same way. Now, I would recommend anytime I have kids, whether it's on a field or in a gym, practicing their feet first sliding, I have them take their shoes off so that their feet do not lock in on the ground and then turn an ankle. Running in their socks helps that process a little bit better. But even something, diving and sliding, can be done with this drill the same way. Now, if kids are just starting out, the first few reps, I wouldn't throw the ball up in the air. I would have them start with the ball in their glove, and then they run and dive, just to get the hang of the diving part out of the way, and then you can cycle into lobbing the ball up and working on diving and catching at the same time. Next one here is a corner drill. Really important aspect of outfield. This is one, say I'm a right fielder, and a ball is hit down the right field line. And I have to get to the ball fast and get it back to second base to keep that runner on first base. It could be a center fielder going to his left or to his right. Keep that guy from getting to second base, keeping the double play in order. And there's two variations of this, okay? And sometimes it depends on where the ball is hit and your relation to it. So let me show you the first one. You're going to see him go to his left, cut the ball off, spin, and throw as if he's making a strong throw to second base. So we're mimicking a ball down the line. This will be a left fielder going down the left field line, keeping the guy on first base. Just working the footwork through the ball and so forth. Now, question then becomes, okay, well, I saw him on one turn this way and throw, and on the other one I saw him catch and turn this way. So when do you do which one? The basic rule is whatever path, that imaginary line that I'm traveling on, if I catch the ball in front of that line, I turn this way. That's the quickest way. If I catch the ball on that imaginary line or behind the line, that's when I just turn and go this way. So for a right fielder, it's actually easier to get momentum by spinning. That is why often at the major league level you will see right-handed right fielders, because that play down the line is easier for a right-hander than it is for a left-hander to backhand it, stop, and then throw back. And at the major league level, if they have the option, oftentimes you'll see a left-handed left fielder for the opposite reason. They can go down this way and make that spin. Obviously, most of the time you don't have that option with the players, but sometimes you will see that as a result, and that's to help them get to the line and get the ball to second base quicker to keep that guy from getting on second base. So that's that corner drill. Next one is to the fence. This is a ball where it's hit over your head. You're going to go back like we did before. But this one you're not going to get to. It's going to hit the ground and roll the fence. The importance of this drill is teaching the player to get to the proper side of the ball when they set up. So if I have a ball here, and let's say this is the fence, and it rolls up and hits the fence and comes right here. Because I'm right-handed, when I go back to get this ball, I always want to make sure I am on the right side of the ball, so that when I go back to this ball, I pick the ball up with my body in this position, so that I'm already facing my target with my throwing side. If I went back on the ball and caught it like this, I have to waste time turning and throwing. I want to take care of a lot of that directional stuff with my body before I catch the ball. If I can do it before, that's a lot less I have to do after I catch the ball. I can just throw it. That's where the quickness comes in instead of the arm strength. If I can set my feet before, I take care of that. So I'd get to the right side of the ball, and all I do is pick it up and throw it. I don't want my outfielders on this drill to pick it up, take 8 steps, and then throw it. Okay? As long as the ball's coming back to the infield, that's when the coaches are going to start holding up runners. If I'm holding the ball, he's going to keep sending them. And so my job as an outfielder is to catch and get rid of it. Let the infielder supply the arm strength from there. Just get the ball towards the infield. So you'll see him do this drill on both sides, staying to the right of the ball since he's right-handed. Now, as a side note, after he throws it this time too, watch him flinch. He did it that time, he's going to do it again. See him flinch? That's because both throws he almost took out a light in the gym. He threw, he's like, oh! And he almost hit it. So those are also the dangers you have to work with in a gym. But again, footwork going back on the ball, getting to the proper side, focusing that footwork and quickness instead of arm strength. The last one is when you bring this one out, the outfielders will get happy. You'll have all your infielders want to do this drill. The catchers will want to get in line. The janitor's coming in from the hallway. He wants to do this drill. Everybody wants to do this drill. And real simple, you'll see why. Because everybody wants to rob that home run. And so everybody wants to do this drill from both angles and see who can come up with the best catch. Okay? Now you think, well, coach, come on. I coach little leaguers. They're never going to have to make this play. First of all, their fences are only about that high, which, yeah, okay, they could reach over. They're not going to have to scale a wall like the Green Monster in Boston or something like that, or in Citizens Bank. So why would you do a drill like this if this is never really going to happen in their games? Point is, not only is it fun, as I said, it's a high motivation drill because everybody wants to do it. Everybody loves to make that game-saving catch, rob a guy of a home run. But it's teaching all the basic things. It's teaching a proper angle to the fence, the timing of the jump, and that's an athletic skill of being able to time your jumps and your footwork, catching the ball when you're in the air, catching the ball on the move, redirecting yourself in the middle of the play. Because there are some times where you lob the ball and you won't make a perfect throw, it'll come up short. And so the player doesn't have to jump, he moves forward and catches it. Or if you throw the ball too hard, he realizes, I'm not going to get the ball. It's going to bounce off, and so he backs away and gets the ball off the hop. So these are all skills that they're going to need to do in a game time. They're going to have to make adjustments mid-flight. They're going to have to catch the ball on the move. They're going to have to use their athleticism, jump on a ball, and still catch it. So even though you may criticize and say, well, the kid's never going to have to make this play, it's working all these basic skills that outfielders are going to need to know. So based on all these drills that I've showed you, you don't need a lot of space. Okay? When you are outside, you just expand it. Expand the drill so that you can have them run farther distances. You can hit balls instead of throw balls. If you're not good at throwing, if you're not good at hitting fungos, get a tennis racket and a tennis ball and hit the balls up in the air with a tennis ball. It really doesn't matter because the ball isn't important. What's important is the footwork and catching the ball on the move and all those core skills that outfielders need to do. And you can change these drills, modify them to whatever space you have, whatever equipment you have, whatever difficulties you may have hitting or throwing or whatever. All these drills can be done in a very small area. And so hopefully you get the message that when you're indoors, you don't have to neglect your outfielders. Now, a lot of these drills, if you think about it, don't have to be just for outfielders. Because infielders are going to have to go back on the ball, just like outfielders. Infielders are going to have to go left and right and time it and catch line drives and fly balls on the move. So all these drills, in most cases, can be done by your entire team, not just outfielders. Okay? Well, those are the drills, folks. This is the front page of my website. As I explained, it's called Baseball by the Yard. Now, one thing I'm doing, you guys were able to take notes. Whoops. You guys were able to take notes here, but what I've done is I've taken this presentation and I've written it all out. I have all the drills. I have a column which lists all the reasons why to do this drill, all the things it works on, and then a whole written explanation of how to do all these drills. What I'm doing is I'm early next week, I'm going to send this out to everybody who's on my mailing list. Now, if you were to go to my website, just under that handsome guy's picture, there'll be a place where people can write in their email address, and you'll be included on this mailing. And often, every now and then, every month or every couple months or so, I'll send out some more information that I come up with to share with coaches and parents and kids. So if you'd like to do that, join that mailing list and I'll send this out. So if you missed anything, you can see it in writing form as well. Normally when I do presentations like this, I videotape it, which is, you see the camera over there. There is also a section on my site which says up top, videos. I have a couple full-length videos on there. 2 of them are very basic pitching mechanics for little kids to keep them safe and just to cover the bare basic minimum of how to throw a baseball, how to pitch. But these are the types of things that I eventually try to put on my website for everybody who wasn't able to attend. But the people who are generally on the mailing list, they get first crack at all this stuff that I send out. All right, folks, well, that's it for me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we have a little more time. If there's any questions that you guys have, you can bring them up now, or I can catch you sometime a little bit later. Yes, sir.
I noticed when he was catching everything on the move, how is that different than when we try to get out there and keep drifting with the ball?
Yeah, and that's another thing that when I do that first drill, the very basic drill, I will sometimes move the ball around so that it's not right at them. And there are times where I will force them to actually back up and get behind the ball. Okay? Outfielders at every level have to get in the habit of, whenever possible, to square their shoulders up to the infield, if they can, before they make the catch. And that will force a kid to not drift, like you're saying, like the Bobby Abreu, okay? That you'll want a guy like a Victorino to get behind the ball so that he's now able to step forward and get his momentum taken care of with the proper footwork. So those drills can be modified to help them get behind the ball, square up in order to make the catch. And obviously, depending on where the ball's hit, outfielder's not always going to be able to do that. But yeah, that's usually a part of that first drill that I'll put in there. Yes, sir.
One of the, first off, the website you have, I was here last year, and you use your website. A lot of the, my team, parents that send the videos are really helpful. I just want to say that.
Thank you.
And you know how maybe when the ball's hit the center fielder, maybe a left fielder or right fielder will come by. What do you teach as far as spotting the ball? Like helping some of the players, back, do you teach, how do you back up like that, you tell the other players, hey, center fielder, back up your left and right fielder?
Yeah, those are drills that we pretty much are going to have to do outside because those usually require balls to be hit higher so they have more time to communicate. But yeah, that's one of the first things we'll do when we are outside is have 2 outfielders. I throw a ball in the middle and they have to decide who's going after it and who's going to back them up. And so those are basic communication things. Also, pop-ups for me are a team event. It isn't just the one guy who's the ball was hit to. Every one of my infielders, including the pitcher, as soon as that ball is hit in the air, if it is not hit in your direction, I want all their hands going up. You point to that ball. Because if I'm the outfielder, there's going to be a time where I'm going to lose that ball coming up in the background or the clouds. And if I have 8 of my teammates pointing to that ball, I can follow all the arms straight up. And I got a shot. There's nothing worse than being an outfielder, ball's hit, you can't find it, and nobody gave you any help. So that's an important thing I try to tell all my players is when the ball is not to you, your job is then to help everyone else. Say back, up, left, right, whatever. Because that one time where nobody says anything, that's the time when they didn't see it, and then the guy's standing on third base. Yes, sir.
The drill that you use to teach first step quickness for outfielders?
Well, some of the drills we did here of going back, the drop step.
Speed on that, is there a way that you can trigger it faster?
Sometimes I time them. I can have the kids set up the cones, and instead of having the kids start at the cone and run in, I'll have the kids start in the center, and then I can just point to a cone, and he takes off, and I time him with a stopwatch from the center to the cone, and then we record that, and they want to try to keep that time either equal or better, and that helps them focus on the actual timing. I'm a huge fan of using a stopwatch because kids in practice can get away with a lot of things because they don't have a runner. So one of the first things I will do in practice is I will take the fastest kid on the team and time him in front of everybody from home to first base. And let's say it takes a little, I don't know, I'll pick, say, 4.2 seconds, okay, for a high school kid. Every single defensive play we practice on, must be done in under 4.2 seconds, or the kid's safe. So when we practice bunt plays and pitcher throws the ball, I roll the ball out, pitcher casually comes in, picks it up, first base. If there's no runner, how do you know he was out? But you have that stopwatch. And if he comes in, picks it up, throws the ball, and you go, safe, that sends a very clear message to your team. I have to be faster. That's where, as you get older, the game gets faster. The players who keep moving are the ones who do these little things, the footwork, positioning before they get the ball so they don't have to do it after they get the ball. That's what cuts the time down. So anytime you can bring out a stopwatch and set it to that fastest setting for fast runners, you can improve the speed of your team very quickly. That's a very impactful thing to hear a coach continually say, not fast enough, he's safe. Not fast enough, you got to do it better. And that's a great way. So using a stopwatch for all these drills are tremendous. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Talking first step, you want to take the first step back in the outfield. Is it really just trying to read the ball and then knowing where
Yeah, yeah. Reading the ball, you can tell a little bit beforehand, sometimes tendencies of hitters, but a lot of it's just reacting on the ball off the bat. That is by far, as one of the coaches said last night, by far the best drill you can do for outfielders is have them set up in the outfield and react the balls off the bat and during batting practice. Obviously you can't do that in the gym, but that is by far the best drill. You tell your outfielders, get out there, every couple of pitches you react as if it's a game. And you tell everyone else around you, I got everything. Leave all the balls alone, I got it. And that's the time where, if I'm a left fielder, I'm seeing the angles off the bat, I'm reading the curves, the wind, the sky, all that stuff. That's where you learn to get your breaks and your first step quickness a lot. Obviously, these drills can't incorporate that. We don't have enough space. But that's something outdoors where they really get to practice game-like situations. All right, yes, sir.
A lot of players, several, constantly step into when the ball is hit. Steps. Do you have anything to break that?
Well, I want all my defensive players behind the pitcher to be moving forward a little bit on the pitch, a step.
They're taking like 2 steps when the ball is hit and outfield.
You mean they keep going forward?
Yeah, like he reads the ball off and then takes 2 steps in, realizing it's going.
Okay. A lot of that is just experience, time on the field experience, where the more they react and see a ball off the bat, the better they become at reacting to those things. You know, there's sometimes when I grew up, it was if it's a line drive, take a step back. If it's a fly ball, take a step in. You can't really make those generalized statements because every time you say that, the kid's going to do it, and then they get messed up. Really, is that comes with experience and reacting. But again, the batting practice drills of seeing the ball off the bat in real situations, the more they do it, the better they get. And that's a constant challenge for young kids, and there's no fix-all drill that's going to fix that. A lot of that comes with experience. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I'll be around if any of you guys have additional questions.